Welcome back, folks, to Piney Grove, the hunting edition. It's January 14th, a Friday afternoon. I took a couple hours off of work to sit in the stand today. I got a northwest wind, so the wind's actually blowing from behind me towards the camera. I really want to hunt this stand I've been hunting this year, which is in my previous two videos for the January 2022 season. But that particular pot down the road there is not a good pot for a westerly wind. It actually is a good plot for a westerly wind because I have two condos, one for an east wind and one for a west wind. But the one that I would have to use tonight, I would not be able to get out of if there's deer in the plot. And it's guaranteed there's going to be 8 to 10 deer in the plot, just like you saw in those previous two January 22 videos. So I don't want to, if nothing comes out for me to shoot and I want to get away and be undetected out of that stand, there's no way to get out of that stand. The only time I can hunt that stand in the afternoon is one, if I'm willing to have deer bust me and see me get out of the stand, and thereby they associate that stand with danger, especially the deer that are there all the time. The ones that may come there less frequently, it's not a big deal, but the ones that live there, they will educate other deer. So they'll always be looking up at that stand if you get busted, so I just don't want to do that. The only other time I can hunt that stand is if I have a buddy hunting with me and he's hunting somewhere else, and then before I get down, he comes in and drives into the plot with his vehicle, and that'll scare the deer off, and then I can get down. So it's just very important to me that I have a good entry and exit strategy, and I have no exit strategy with that stand. So all that to say this, I'm going to hunt the Thanksgiving stand, the stand that I took the doe in the Thanksgiving 2021 video. It's a decent stand for a westerly wind, and it's also a great stand that I can get out of if there's deer in the plot. So the reason that I'm a bit disappointed is most of the bucks are using the stand I can't use tonight. I don't have any mature bucks during the daytime on this stand, but we're getting close to the rut, and you just never know what'll pop out. I'm going to go down there and sit tonight till dark, and like I said, I can get out of the stand if there's deer in the plot. I've probably split my bucks about 40%, 60% in the stand that I'm not going to, and 40% in the stand I'm going to over 13 years. So there is a chance I'll get a decent buck down there. It's just not what I would feel. That the odds are not in my favor. So that's what I'm going to do today. Like I mentioned, it's a little bit warm. It's supposed to cool off as the sun sets, so we'll see what happens. Also included in this video is some footage from when I took the day off on Wednesday, January 12th, and did a morning hunt. So I came out here and hunted the stand I call T-cell, the one I'm not going to tonight, and I saw a mature buck about 9 o'clock. I saw 8 or 10 deer that day, no turkeys that day, but it was a good hunt, but I just did not have it in me to sit all day that day. So I climbed down around 11 or 12, and here's some footage of what I saw that day. I saw some does come into the plot as usual. I saw a little bit of chasing, and I saw that mature buck come in at 9 o'clock all the way across the plot. He fed in front of me at 110, 120 yards, and then he skirted the edge of the plot and came through the pine woods there to my left. And those woods are in a video like in one of my hunting prep where I cleared out those woods with a brush cutter so that I could see through those pine trees. So I was able to watch him go through those pine trees. That was about it for that hunt. Again, it was nice to get out. It was a cool morning in the 40s, and but there wasn't really a good harvest opportunity. I could have taken that buck. It was a legal buck. It's 4.5 years old or better, so it definitely meets our criteria, but it's not the one I'm looking for, at least not yet. I won't say that I won't take that buck this season, but I didn't take him on Wednesday. And another interesting thing I saw was a pileated woodpecker, which is like the woody woodpecker with the red head and the black body. I saw that fly up into a pine tree right next to my blind, and I got a little bit of footage of him. When I stuck the camera out the window, he actually kind of went around the other side of the tree, but there's a little bit of footage here. And I see them at a distance, but it's rare for me to see him that close. He was probably 5 yards away, if he was even that far away. So, all right, stay tuned. I'm going to get geared up. I already took a scent-free shower, put on all fresh scent-free clothes, and I'm going to take a little bit of gear in with me, not a whole bunch. It's an afternoon hunt's a lot easier than the morning hunt. The morning hunt, you're going to get hungry, you're going to get thirsty because you could be there, you get in the stand at 5 and you could be there till, noon, 1 o'clock. I'm going to get in the stand just after 2, and I know I got to get down at 5 because it's going to be dark at 5. There's always a possibility you get down sooner if you actually harvest an animal. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to get geared up and head in there, and I'll take you along with me. Stay tuned. All right, we're on our way. We're going to go down this road to where it makes that turn back there, and then we're going to cut through a plot and then cut through a trail in the woods and come up the back of the condo and climb in. Going to be real quiet on the walk in because sometimes there's deer in the plot this time of day. It's about 2 o'clock. The feeder will go off about 3:30, but this is a very secluded plot, so you never know when there's going to be deer in there. No deer. I was trying to be quiet, but the leaves were so crunchy. But I didn't hear any blowing or any deer running away. So that big 6-point I passed on Wednesday is right there, broadside at 80 yards. I'm not going to shoot him today. Big old boy, though. My heart got thumping when I first saw him. He came across the plot, got the rifle ready, got my hearing protection, had the camera on, but the camera wasn't on. He's looking the other way, but he's out there feeding right now. That's exciting. I've been in the stand 15 minutes. Pretty cool. He's beautiful in the sunlight. He's going to walk right across in front of me. About 50 yards. There he goes. Big old boy. Beautiful animal. I think he got a whiff of me. Put his nose in the air. There was a time on this property that would not have happened. That a buck like that walked by, 4.5-year-old. It just wouldn't have happened without me pulling the trigger. But as you get older, you get more selective. And there's a better buck out here. There's a lot more season left. And it was incredible watching him. I didn't even have my rifle up, and my heart was pounding. He was right out in front at 40 yards. He stopped and sniffed, so there might have been some swirling wind. But then he went over to the feeder. The feeder's not going to go off for another hour. He went over to the feeder, and then he just went in the woods. Okay, it's a 3:30 update. There's no update. I've seen nothing. Both feeders just went off. It's kind of interesting because they're just Moultrie feeders that I set with my cell phone. I may have set that one an hour different than this one. And by different, I mean I can't be at both feeders at the same time. They're both set for 3:30. They both went off at exactly 3:30 and ran for 7 seconds. Just thought that was interesting. But I haven't seen anything since that buck. Got crows. I got squirrels. There's 4 squirrels in my feeder. I don't think I've ever seen 4 squirrels on this whole property. Then I heard what sounded like a turkey. But imagine a turkey that's got his head underwater. Instead of cluck, 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 it was like glub, glub, glub. Weird. But that's your 3:30 update. Things should start happening now. 4 o'clock. That was too loud. 4 o'clock. Nothing. 30 minutes after the feeder went off. And nothing's come out. Got a nice breeze in my face. It's quiet. Shadows are starting to get longer. No deer. Kind of weird. About 80 yards away, there's a spike buck at the feeder. But that's it. I didn't even see him come in. He just appeared. Nothing at the other pot that way. So we just had an 8-point show up, but half his rack is broke off. He's got kind of a thin rack anyway, but it's broke off. So I guess he's technically a 5-pointer. Well, folks, I don't know how well this video is going to turn out, but I didn't get the actual, this is the buck we call Curves, and I've been after him, and he stepped out, and I had the camera set up, but you can see the flash is on, and the flash went on, the flash went on when he was in the plot, and he stopped, and he just kept looking at me, and he wouldn't turn sideways, so I put the camera to the side, I turned it off to turn this light off, and he finally calmed down, and he went broadside, and I took the shot, and I was shaking. I ain't gonna lie. I was able to control my nerves and get off a good shot. I had solid elbow rest, and I felt like it was a good shot. But when he ran, he was definitely hit. But when he ran, I wasn't sure how far he went. He went into this thick woods back here, and I just really wasn't sure how far he went. And it's fading light. I mean, it's after the sunset at 5. And I guess I shot him just a little bit after that. So I'm a little nervous. I'm also a little chilly because of the sun setting. But he's a heck of a buck. He's a 9-point. I thought he'd be an 8-point. And I'm just tickled. I really didn't think I'd see him. But after the spike went in and that broke rack 8 came out, they just kept loitering. And I just felt like something else was going to come out. And he stepped out, and he's a boss. This is one heck of an animal, and I'm so thankful and blessed that I was able to get him. Actually, a little bit emotional. This lighting is brought to you by GMC, specifically my bed light in my pickup. But I want to walk through this hunt while it's still fresh in my mind. I know that I talked a little bit when I found the deer, but I had the camera, the video set up with the flash to come on. So when Curves, this buck, came out, I hit record, and it was fading light. So I don't know how well it would have recorded anyway, but at least you would have got to see the buck come out. But the light went on, and I'm fumbling in the window of the condo trying to turn the camera off, but he had already seen it, and he was staring right at me. So I was behind the camera with my rifle to my side, and I couldn't really get my rifle. He was staring right in the condo. He was only, 70 yards away. And, a buck like that, they're not going to stick around when you mess up. Or they've got to be right every time. You've only got to be right once. And here was the one time I was right and I was messing it up. So he kept staring, and I looked through the scope, but I just didn't feel comfortable taking kind of that offhand shot underneath the camera. So I eased back where I could get both elbows stabilized and just moved real slowly. And he was looking at me, and then finally he put his head down. He kind of calmed down and he turned sideways. When he turned sideways, my scope, everything was shaking, and I was controlling my breathing. I was like, calm down, breathe, calm down, hold the rifle tight, but not too tight, make a good shot, squeeze the trigger. Just going through those mental exercises that you do on the range, because I couldn't control my heart was coming out of my chest. This is the buck I have been after. You know, I've never seen him in the daylight. I don't have a daylight picture of him. And here he is in perfectly legal shooting hours in front of me, less than 100 yards. You know, it's time to do this. So he turned broadside, and I drilled him. I put it right where I wanted to put it, and the shot was absolutely perfect. But you don't know that when you shoot and they don't drop, because I wasn't going for a shoulder shot. I was going for just above the heart, a double lung. And he ran. I could tell he was hurt. He ran, and I jacked out the shell. I jacked out the casing. I put a new bullet in, but he never paused. I mean, he circled through the plot, and he was gone in the woods. And there's, you know, very little light at 15 minutes after sunset. You can shoot to 30 minutes after sunset, but 15 minutes after sunset with the naked eye, especially 50-year-old eyes, there's not a lot of light left. So I went up where I saw him go into the woods, and I looked down, and I was looking for blood, and there's, you know, it's green grass, but there's not a lot of light. And I looked, and I found some blood. I was like, all right, that's good. And it was good color blood, the right kind of blood you want to track an animal. And then I looked, and there was a chunk of something on the ground. And it really looked like a fresh raccoon turd or something. So I picked it up, and it was actually a piece of his heart. I had heart shot him, and he still ran about 70, 80 yards. But I picked that up, and I was like, okay, well, he can't be far. And so I tracked through the woods, and it got dark in the woods, and I found blood, you know, a good blood trail, but I didn't have any flashlight with me. The only thing I had was my camera light, and I didn't want to burn that out. So I was like, all right, I'll go back to the truck and I got some good lights here in the truck, good LED lights. And I said, well, let me make a circle. So I made one circle at the end of where the blood was, and I didn't see him. I was like, I thought I saw him over there. It was a stump. So I moved over there, and I looked over there around that stump, and I was like, it was a stump, not a deer. And I looked to my right, and I could see in the grass, the brown grass, his rack was hanging out of the grass, and he was folded up. Magnificent buck. I'll have to get him aged by the biologist. He's at least 3.5, which is our minimum. I thought his body would be a little bit bigger when I drug him out. He wasn't as heavy as I thought, so we'll get him on the scale here in a few minutes. He's still sitting in the pot. I'm back at the truck just trying to gather my thoughts and everything, and just kind of get my head back in the game. You know, I got to clean this thing. I'm not going to get home till 8, 9 o'clock tonight. I just called the processor, and they're a week and a half out, so I'm going to have to take it somewhere else. I can't keep it on ice for a week and a half. But anyway, that was the hunt. Didn't get it on film. Trophy buck for me, trophy buck for this property. We've killed one 10-point in 13 years and one 9-point. So this is only the second 9-point that's been killed on this property. And I'm debating whether I'm doing a full shoulder mount. He's that pretty of a deer. He's that beautiful of an animal. I'm at least going to do a Euro mount with him, but I may possibly go ahead and suck it up and spend that $700 and get a full shoulder mount. He is really just that pretty and that perfect of a buck. Anyway, that's the story. That's the hunt. Sorry I didn't get it on film, but it was, you know, this was likely a buck of a lifetime on this property, and I could not fool with that camera anymore. And matter of fact, I didn't even know how to turn the flash off until I got back here to the truck. Hopefully you enjoyed coming along with me on this hunt today. It was very, very exciting. I know I didn't get exciting footage of that buck, but while I was climbing down from the condo quietly to go look for this buck, that bigger buck from earlier was in the plot, plus the broke rack buck. So I had pretty much most of the bucks on the property in front of me today. So it just turned out to be a great day. You remember when I sat back here at the truck before I walked in, I really didn't want to sit at this condo, at this plot today, but it all worked out. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed coming along with me on today's hunt. As I always say, please click that like button. It really helps our channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribing is 100% free if you're not familiar with YouTube. But otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, y'all.